Hey, welcome, all my right thinkers. Thanks for tuning in to check out your boy, P-Funk, thinking right out here in the lab. What I do for you today? We got a twofer. I got two books I'm reading out of the day, so let's get you ready. So let's do what we do. Writism, 25 rules to live by. Storytelling, story with a message. Message and story for life. I give you life lessons. You tune to receiving them. We got a good thing going. Let's rock. Right thinkers mission, and yeah, that's what I'm on. Is to enlighten, inspire, educate, and motivate you, the individual, to a higher spiritual level of enlightenment. Right thinkers way of life through mental and spiritual discipline daily, yeah, will help and guide you to obtain your goal of spiritual enlightenment, aka know thyself. That's my mission, that all right thinkers do just that. So I'm on my grind to give you the things you need to do just that. All you gotta do is tune in and use it. Let's go. So far, so good. I appreciate you. Let's do what we do. The question I ask, do you know you? If you know everything except you don't know nothing. So know thyself is the goal for all right thinkers. And my job is to do just that, give you what you need for that to happen. So a person who knows not and knows not that they know not is foolish. Disregard them. A person who knows not and knows that they know not is simple. You teach them. That's why I do what I do for you. Appreciate you too. Stay tuned. I got more for you. A person who knows not and believe or think they know is dangerous. Avoid them. I do. A person who knows but knows not that they know is spiritually asleep. I can awaken them with knowledge of self. That's what I do for you. A person who knows and knows that they know is wise. Follow them. All these persons reside in you. Right thinkers know thyself. And to my eye, be true. I got a double barrel for you today. We're going to do a little bit of Egyptian mystery. I'm going to flip on over to Tree of Life. But this is what we're dealing with today. Title, Right Thinkers. Let's talk about what it takes to be a right thinker. Excuse me. What it takes to be a qualified right thinker, aka aspirant. I'll tell you, we flip back and forth. You're aspirant, you're right thinker because you're aspiring. So they use the same word, mean the same thing. All right. So, well, how do I become a qualified? I'm down. I'm gonna help you with that. That's my point. I'm gonna break it down. Hope you understand. This is gonna be a good lesson. I was going over it. I thought it was. Let me see how it play out. Let's go. It's time to learn something today about your mastery of self. Okay. Now, how to become a qualified aspirant? First of all, the question is how to become a qualified aspirant. So therefore, it means what? Following the path of right thinker philosophy, aka Maya philosophy. That is how the Nihas, watch this, enlightenment is achieved. When you live right, do right, you will have some things happen. That's how you reach the Nihas. And study daily to what? Show yourself approved for your achievement to reach Nihas, aka know thyself. So let's go. This is a lesson. Maya philosophy teaches if you adopt the right path that leads you to truth and you will obtain peace and prosperity. Ain't that what we all want in life? Okay, but some people go about it a whole lot different ways, but I know this way. I don't know about all them other ways. I know this one. So watch this. I do have a way though. If you don't know the way to peace and prosperity, shut up. If you do, then speak up. Right now, I'm speaking. Let's go. Now, Mayat also teaches that you are divine. We're not sinners. We're divine. We're spiritual beings having a human experience, and we are spiritually divine. And watch this, and that you have a divine purpose. God didn't make me for nothing. God don't make junk. All that stuff y'all saying. But do you really understand what it means and take it personal? You know you be your best self, you obtain the things that you need to do, and you'll be fine. If you study the wisdom of what? Netaru, our aspects of your character, again, God and goddesses, whatever, you will what? Discover your purpose of life. knowing thyself. Watch this. I'm going to show you. If you become pure of heart, righteous, virtuous, what'll happen? You will discover God and the concept of immortality by knowing thyself and God are one. So that means you are immortal. It gets better, okay? Trust me, I got enough ammunition to make my point. Let's go. Follow with me. Ride with me. Now, Maya also teaches you that what? You will succeed where? In life, not career, not no, in life. Gotta calm down. If you what? If you learn about Maya philosophy and do what? Practice it every day. That's what I do. I've been doing it now for over 20 years. So it's all good. If I get more people, I see the numbers are growing, but to do that, things will start changing. But I want to get to my young people. But right now, I just want to get to anybody who's trying to learn and do better. So that's my goal. As I have said before, and I always tell you, it is personal. Excuse me. It is a perennial process, meaning personal. You cannot practice. Listen, you cannot practice Maya today and think you will become righteous or enlightened tomorrow and say, well, I'll go and do my spiritual preceptor and he or she will forgive me. It don't work that way. Or at the time of what? Your death. Here we go. Late. Say or think you will approach God sincerely and ask for absolution. That's for the believers. The knowers, no, that's not how to go. That's not the route to take. It does not work again that way. Why? There are particular reasons why, and I'm gonna tell you, it does not work that way. When you perform, listen, and I've been trying to get this point across, in action, irate, for every action, there's an equal opposite reaction. So what you put out is what you get back, aka you reap what you sow. That's the law. So watch this. But when you perform an action, what happens? That residue of that action stays in your unconscious mind. That imprint or residue is the unconscious becomes what? A future impetus, to perform what? Similar actions. If the act was pleasurable, the ego is satisfied. So it's going to do what? Repeat it. Or avoid similar actions if what? If it's painful. Joy, pain. You like the joy, you can't stand the pain. That's understandable. You have to understand it comes with it. You have one after the other. So watch this. So if you perform good deeds, here we go. If we get our young people, I want to drive this point to my young people personally, each and every one person, each and every one got to understand if you perform a good deed or an evil deed, same thing, these good or evil what memories, imprints, the residue remain in your unconscious, and these lead the soul to experience one or two things: heavenly or hellish situations, respectively. When? After death and reincarnation. That's how you end up back here again. When you don't wake up, know thyself, reach the knee highs, get anointed, he's Christhood, whatever you want to call it. Okay, you're bound to come back and repeat it again. And this is what that bad situation. This is hell. If you got to come back, the Egyptians didn't want to come back. They knew it was a one-way ticket to the hereafter, and that's what they live for as a people. We look for fame, fortune, legacy, all that materialistic nonsense. That means nothing because in this life, the physical body we know won't last, but the spirit that's in it, if it's get enlightened, if you get to know yourself, you and God, then you go home to yourself. Other than that, you gotta play this game again, aka like a mulligan. If you're a golf player, you get a do-over. Some people like it and they enjoy it. Some people like this world. Okay, moving on. But the spiritual realm is where there's nothing going on. Hotep, highest peace. Okay. Now watch this. Even after death, remember, They remain for what? The future drive, future desires, for future reincarnations. Again, leftover ideas and concepts, unresolved desires will follow you to the reincarnated life. That's what they're telling you. Watch this. Now, also, your unrighteous actions, here you go, which cause agitation to the mind. With mental agitation, what happened? You cannot fathom what the full spiritual teachings. There's a blockage there. You need to open up. A lot of us, when I read my mission statement, if you believe you know and don't know, you can't be taught. You will have a blockage of ignorance. That's what it's called. And that is why you need to have what? A purity of heart. If you're ignorant of yourself, you can't purify your heart. You're going to serve yourself. Moving on. That's the difference. Now, in the slide above, you see the goddess Maya in the hieroglyphic text underneath the picture means what? Ru, Nu, Pert, Haru, or the words of coming into the light, or the book of enlightenment, referring to what? The book of coming forth by day, commonly known as, again, the book of the dead. Now, we talk about what they call the great truth. We got four of them. We done went through the other ones, but this one we're going to talk about the third one, and I got the fourth one coming up. The third one is devotion and freedom. What that mean? Devotion to what? The divine leads to freedom from what? The fetters of set. Again, ignorance keep you doing the same thing over and over again. Now, the great truth, to be liberated, first of all, to be liberated is nafu, freedom to what? Breathe. Ignorance is like taking an inhale breath. You're trying to hold it. You have to let it out. So you got to understand from the afflictions of set, watch this, one must what? Devote it to what? The divine. Who's the divine? You see me pointing up. That's your higher self. And to be devoted to divine means what? Here we go. Living by Maya, aka right thinking philosophy. Why? Maya is the way of life, and that's what my right thinking philosophy is. I tell you every day, that is how what purifying to the heart and beneficial for society as it promotes what virtue, order, and living by that means practicing shidi, getting the inside information, doing your due diligence, really getting understanding. Like I said, don't believe in God, understand God, and then you can serve Him in earnest. Why? Because you know Him. Okay? Watch this. Now, you got this here sign. Okay? Sign of peace. Okay? Whatever. Mason's sign of astonishment. Still laugh at that, but I'm moving on. I'm keep telling the story. Every time I do it, I gotta tell the story. But yeah, they gave me some bogus information. But now Uasha, UASHU, what that means? It means devotion to the classic pose of adoring the divine, called dua. They call it the dua. Standing or sitting, you can do it in sitting position. You come in like this, you sit down and raise up your hands, open up. Y'all call this what? I come in peace. Same thing. All right, but that's what we call the dua. Standing or sitting with upright hands, facing outwards toward the image of the divinity. Okay. Now, great truth number 3. That's what we're dealing with right now. Devotion to freedom. Devotion and freedom, uasha, is an important concept here. Why? With respect to the truth, the great truth, one, we discussed that God is what? Ua, ua. That means what? The one and one, supreme, all-encompassing divinity. That's the first great truth. For the second great truth, we discussed how what? Human beings fall away from what? That knowledge through unmaya. Ignorance is unmaya. Why? Because you're going against everything that's right. You're going out backwards, okay? And which is what? Unrighteousness. And Khemen, which means ignorance. Don't be that means you're ignorant. Now, the path of devotion to who? The teaching, watch this, and the devotion to the divine. Always what's right. Always purchase, always doing things that's what you're supposed to do for the purpose of what? Being rewarded for what? Good deeds, righteous actions. Good IRE purifies the heart. Why? Because you will be rewarded by a blessing. Watch this. Which is down here. Okay, watch this. Now, devotion to the teaching and devotion to the divine is what? A path that takes you out of ignorance. I want all my right thinkers on this path. Why? Because that's how you get away from ignorance. Knowing thyself, studying, and living by your spiritual truth, aka holding yourself responsible and following your spiritual discipline. When you have ignorance out of unrighteousness, this is the path that takes you out of ignorance again and out of unrighteousness. You start to do what? The teachings of devotion and divine love must be studied what? Closely and under, listen, the guidance of an authentic spiritual preceptor, aka Sage. I ain't got my hat on, but I got down here me. Yeah, I'm qualified. Let me knock this off. I got another book like this. I'm taking to another book. But watch this. Now, I often tell you, in the human's way, watch this is real quick lesson. You wouldn't like, I just said a qualified, authentic preceptor. And I said me. I'm qualified. Watch this. Now, in the human's way, you would like to go to be treated by a doctor who has learned from what? Reading books, okay? How to be a doctor. Straight A's, but just reading. No practical, just studying, just knowing, just reading. Would you need to have, okay, so if you needed to have an appendix cut out, and he who has never done one before, but he know all about it because he read all the books. He got a student, but he reads about how to do it, and you want him to cut out your appendix, he's gonna tell you, let me cut you open. He says, well, would you prefer the doctor who would what? You prefer someone who has done hundreds of appendix operations, or would you prefer that doctor who, you prefer someone who has been tested and who has been what? Taught under someone who knows. That's wisdom, knowledge. Or would you think that you can learn? Do you think you can learn spiritual philosophy without what? Having a preceptor, or without practicing the teachings? It cannot work. The philosophy is actually, watch this, more difficult than what? Rocket science. Why is that? Engineering. Why? And more capable of what? Medical science. However, however, I am here to explain that you are capable of doing just that, grasping this philosophical concept and use it the way it's intended to better yourself. That's in this lesson here. I'm sliding over here to the tree of life, and we're going to start back here on page 91. Okay, here we go. Now, that's what I just went over. The purpose of this is to what? Once you have attained it, what's it? And then you are ready to excel to other attainments, which is what? Other masterships. Okay? Other aspects of your character. Watch this. Now, as you master, you are able to what? Harness. If you master the principles, now we're going with, remember I said, then you can what? Harness that principle of what? That cosmic energy by the modes of what? Action. But watch this. These are just supports for you, for your will. And the goddess Net, the prognosticator of what I said, represents will, your desire to do. But watch this. Although right now we are referring to transcendental aspects that we have talked about previously about mastering certain qualities. Now, on the physical level, she also represents will, and once they have they have comfort in what? Their knowledge of self. These principles, okay, once they have security in what? Their understanding of self, again, this concept is related to the term of MN, or new, MNNU. And what it means you are firm, or the term of Jed, spelled D-J-E-D. Remember, the back of Cyrus's back is called the Jed pillow, and that means that you are what? Established. You have what? You established, give me, that means you are established strongly in what? Your understanding and knowledge of self. That's what mastery of every aspect of your character would do. Now, I'm going to slide down here to the next paragraph and read this one to you. The sacramental practice, okay, that means you do this religiously, or perpetuation and relation to what a principle is that you should have a ritual related to that divinity. Every God that you learn to respect, you have a personal relationship with them. Okay, mine is Maya. Okay, but they telling you you have a shrine, you can build a shrine to your divinity. Say that this is the goddess I set, for example. Okay, in the practice of the Anuyan Theurgy tree of life spiritual program, what happens? You offer libations up to Aset, you burn incense and you light a candle, and then you utter word Heka, we call Heka words of power, special words of power. What? To commemorate and to invoke the energy, the cosmic force, to bring her there. You see, God, okay, in the hood, before we drink, pour some for the guys who ain't here. That's where that comes from. Okay, you show respect to symbolically to somebody else. Okay, that's time is I said. I you for my yacht. And then watch this. You're reading, watch this. Then you do what? You read, mean you study her philosophy, or you listen to what? A live or recorded lecture about her, gaining more information. Reflect on what you have read. Remember, you listen, you read, you reflect, and you meditate. Then you acquire the stuff you read. Watch this now, or what you heard, and then what? Meditate on what you have studied. I was a student in college. You spend an hour, maybe 45 minutes, focus on what subject you studying. And then after that, you just put the book down. It ain't gonna stick. Don't work that way. You have to reflect on it, let it marinate a little bit, meditate about it, get clearer understanding. I'm learning now, but I didn't understand it earlier. Why? Because I would just keep going. I just keep going. Wonder, I know I studied, I know I'm ready, and it just get a blank. So if you don't put the meditative part in it, it won't stick. Okay, meditation is the glue to keeping what your aspects and your concepts all together. So to learn about it, to listen and hear about it, yeah. To practice the ritual, yeah, that's fine. But if you ain't actually manifesting it, putting it to use, it won't work. That's the concept. That's all I did getting that power, studying, so you can use it. But watch this now. Back to the book. Now back in, watch this, back in your day-to-day life, when you studying, you put it to use when? Immediately. Information I give you, you can start practicing it right now. Again, not wait till, well, I'm going to start next week. No, watch this. But you must also what? Act like I said. You must adopt her principles and her personality. But notice that you don't give up your personality to become her. No, you just incorporate her in your personality to better it. You'll discover her essence within what? Oh, yeah. Okay, discover her essence within what? Within, and your personality is what? Transformed thereby what? Remember that you already are in an expression of what? The divine. You are not becoming something else. You're becoming your best self. You raise your consciousness. You're starting to find out about yourself. Hence, know thyself. You have to study and practice and manifest for yourself to know yourself. And when you begin to learn about yourself or the principles, and you start to what? Act and think in what? In accordance with who? With them. You will begin to feel like them, or rather, you begin to recognize them within yourself as your own deeper innate nature. And that's what it's all about. Sorry, I'm just excited. In this way, you are what? Becoming a master of who? Every aspect of yourself. Hence, when you get them all, yourself. Like the Shaolin monks, you have to master every level or degree that you want to do for yourself to get to the next one. That's what the concept is spiritual. Okay, where we at? Okay, now remember the saying: men and women are what? Mortal gods. Meaning we in human form, so we mortal. But watch this. And we're mortal God and goddess. And watch this. Gods and goddesses are what? Immortal men and women. What the hell? In the physical form, we have limitations. In our spiritual form, we're unlimited. Understand that. And now, watch this. That is what the ancient Egyptians was teaching. And a goal for, on the goal on what? The spiritual path to what? Knowing thyself, aka Nihas. If you were, watch this, to remove what? Your ignorance and your unrighteousness through what? How? A Christian would call it Ten Commandments, following the tenets. A Jew following the Torah. The Muslims following the Quran. And when you do that, things will happen automatically. Why? Because when you're living and doing good things, he will notice that. That's what he recognized. Just like he got to punish you for unrighteous, he's going to reward you for righteous. And that's what they try to teach across the board. And watch this. How you do it? Through the practice of Maya. The practice of right thinking philosophy, aka Shidi. What Shidi mean? Study of the teachings. I study daily. Why? I teach. So I have to learn and stay proficient on what I'm teaching, if nothing else, to keep the information fresh, to keep it moving. Why? I don't rely on what I know. I know that. No. I did this over 10 years ago. I'm back at it. Why? This is familiar ground to me. So that's what I teach, what I know. So understand. So watch this. Study the teachings. And if you begin to what? Practice them as we are talking here today, and you knowing the divinities and you acting like them, you speaking their truth, thinking thinking thoughts related to them, of them, how they think, their rationale, learning to what reason as they do, you will eventually what? Become like them. You will become one with them. That's the whole goal of knowing thyself. You got a bunch of things going on in your aspects of your personality and your character. You want to master all of them. Then you become untouchable, unbeatable. The Charlotte Monk, I just showed the guy, he undefeated. Every aspect of his body is a weapon. And he used every one of them. I'm just using my brain. So I'm a Shirley monk when it comes to spiritual knowledge and understanding. How about that? I get the concept. Let me wrap this up for you. I appreciate you tuning in. I'm almost home. I think where we at? 90. Okay, yeah, we got some work to do. All right, excuse me. Right here. So watch this. There are cosmic forces. If you're a Star Wars fan, this should be right down your alley. Why? Because that's what he's teaching you. And it's familiar to you because you get the concept. Watch this. The cosmic forces of the universe that are positive, you got some that are negative, but the negative common forces are what? Are due to ignorance. Again, ignorance causes even cosmic forces to what? Be turned to that which is what? Relatively negative. For instance, those kind of people. Okay, bad people, ill will people, people with bad intention. We know them, the fakers. They will take the concept and misuse it, but guess what? They should know they are responsible for their wrong actions, and they will have to pay for that. Just like they get rewarded for the good action. Don't think it's a one-way street. Okay, I said that my time. Let me end this up right here. Where we at now? I don't like that. What else that? Let's start back. Okay, I don't like that. Because, okay, I'm gonna wrap it up with this here. Now, of course, from our perspective of teachings, the mastery, the self-mastery over what? The spiritual forces, cosmic forces, in order to use them properly, you have to what? Practice them properly in what? Your day-to-day living. And it's important by what? To use the knowledge and wisdom of spiritual enlightenment to live by relating, what's this, to things that transcend the world of time and space is most important. Living a spiritually enlightened life is a different lifestyle. Why? Because if you were to discover this knowledge of the principles of the Kemetic tree of life, they all lead you to what? Understand the entire creation, the entire universe, and that we said before, like we said before, is Ra who emerged from the transcendent, aka Nebuchadnezzar, the me hurt. I gave all that education before, etc. But watch this. On another level, you got to know them meaning what? Knowing yourself. Because the essence of creation, listen, is you or your higher self. Again, your lower self is the physical part, that's nature. Your higher self is the spiritual part that rocks with the universe, the cosmic forces. And watch this, it's your deeper self. Knowing thyself, the principle also allows you to what? Have insight into nature. I told you, gun, God, universe, and nature. You're prepared. That's not yourself. That's what my man, I love KRS told him about that one. I agree 100%. When you have more insight into nature and of the principles as what it affects your life as well. Most people what are unaware, ignorant of how the cosmic forces are driving their lives. And so they move on in life thinking of life as a what? An uncontrolled, unfathomable river in which they become swept up with no control over their situations. A lot of us think that, man, I just do it. Get clarity, get understanding, and you dictate your life. Situations, not so much, but you dictate you. So this path, what? This path is of self-mastery over your principles is presented by each god or goddess, and thereby becoming like them, or rather discovering your divinity, them within what? Yourself. Knowing thyself, this all comes down to that. So on that one, okay, I want to stop, but I want to get a little bit more. Watch this. So for example, right quick, if you want to know about set, we did our set. Now to talk about set. You get to know about what? Your own, listen, egoistic nature. Set is the wisdom, intuitive nature. Set, our set is the wisdom, intuitive nature. Set is your lower nature. Watch this. He's your egoistic nature. That's what we identify with. And some of us don't stop. Your desires and your futilities, as well as your illusionary nature of egoism. I learned that lesson. I mastered my set concept. I know now. I know he didn't. A lot of us young men, middle-aged men don't. I know people still living for desire, self-desire, and some people will continue moving on. But knowing about that which is nature, mortality, watch this, allows you to know about, again, death. He didn't. What? He was scared to death to die. Moving on. Now, you learn about death, about what? The transient nature of life. I know that when death come to my door, that don't mean the end of my life. It just means the end of this one. I'm here. No more here. I'll go with that. Ain't not a problem. But I know I ain't coming back here. I mean, people can say that. I'm not bragging, but when you get that kind of knowledge, you secure in your wisdom, your concept of who you are. You know yourself. You know how this thing goes. Okay, I'm just trying to help others along the way. Couldn't help it. Wish I could have, but moving on. But all of these descriptions, watch this, right now are really superficial. Why? What needs to happen is that there needs to be a deep study of what each principle, and after that study comes what? Again, reflection on that principle. And after the reflection, come on, comes what? Meditation on that principle. That's the criteria for learning. Whatever he's doing, that's the criteria for learning it. Be it religion, math, science, don't make a difference. That's the criteria. You study, you reflect, and you meditate. Meditating is the glue. Watch this. Then, as your thoughts have been what? Led through the process, you manifest the principles how? Through your physical origins of action. Manifestation between your mind, body, and the speech. Coming up, got something for that one too. Why? It means speaking in the way that the principles speak. So if you want to be like us, get an example, then you will speak wisdom. You will study wise teachings. You study wise thoughts. You speak them. Then you act the way she acts, and you learn how she acts by how? Studying her myths, stories. She got a whole identity you can find out about her. Okay. And then what? You apply right here. When you do the studying, you're studying to do what? Apply those ways to what? Your day-to-day life. This is why I can tell you why. That's what I do. And eventually what happened? You discover her where? Within yourself. Whether or not you are male or female, the spirit don't care. Understand that. But it's about learning and understanding yourself. I'm almost there. Yeah, I'm taking it home. I'm bringing it in. Yeah, I'm almost done. Now we got what here? Let's stop there. There we go. Now, this discipline, which you call right then philosophy, or which we speak of, is what? Oh, first of all, we did that already. Sorry about that. But watch this. I wrapped it up. We speak of an embodied, which is embodied in a word that has been given to describe this Kemetic philosophy and practice of spiritual disciplines. That's my favorite. That leads to what? Spirit. If you practice spiritual discipline, that leads to spiritual enlightenment and what? Self-mastery of what? The theurgy or the sacred science, the art of what? Knowing and manipulating, controlling what? Your cosmic forces, aka your higher self. This is why human beings can be greater than the cosmic forces. Why? Because they can control the cosmic forces and exist on all planes, even the physical ones, symbolized by what? Haru, even at the bottom of the cosmic mythograph, he's opposite and parallel to Ra at the top. But he's in the physical human being. He's a physical human being. Watch this. And as the divinities go through development of the subtle aspects of their spiritual personalities, a human being who is a sage or saint is in a sense higher than the gods and goddesses. Why? Watch this. Because the god and goddesses rule in another world and manage creation for supreme being, and they have their emanation that they do, that the work that they do, which is sub energies that course through the universe. And these emanations can be manipulated and harnessed by who? Mortal man and women to also do certain work. Again, like creating positive vibrations to what? Facilitate a program influencing others to be also changing moods and engendering what? Peaceful conditions, but most importantly, creating the energy or the force of Sa. Sa is S-A-A. It's like a brick laid out, and it means understanding. What's this? Having knowledge, obtaining information does not mean having what? Understanding. Understanding is important when what? When studying the mystical philosophy, and that is a certain form of energy or force that allows you, the aspirant, right thinker, to overcome what? Life obstacles that's in the path. Like what? The lack of will to spend time what? Reading or meditating or putting down what? Your ego. If you don't conquer the ego so that what? Your intellect may have a chance. Without the ego conquered, the intellect can't win. Why? It can't have a chance to work out what? The mysteries of life. Because the application of the tree of life, descriptions for spiritual evolution may be thought of as what? A scientific process. Again, man and women are to become God-like again through what? A life of righteous, virtuous virtue, and the cultivation of what? The spirit through scientific knowledge, practice, and bodily discipline. I go to the gym every day. I do my daily routine. That's living right. No matter what you think and feel about it, you can do it on your own terms also. Let me wrap this up. Knowledge, watch this, is far different than sense. For sense is brought about by what? That which has the mastery over us, while knowledge is in the end, is at the end of what? Science. You need science. When I spell heart conscious, it's spelled CONSCIENC. That's the science. Watch this. We've been knowing about it forever. And science of what? God's gift. All science is what? Incorporeal. The instrument it uses being what? The mind. Just as the mind employs the body. But those as above, so below. They work together in unison. Now it says here, if mortal man and women can discover their own divinity, this means that they rule on what? The lower planes, the physical planes of matter, physicality, and mental instinct. We all have instinct. In a sense, that is what it means to what? Become Haru What it means. Haru the Great. And also, this is what it means to be what? The pharaoh, the king, or the queen. You preside over your world. In the meantime, you are what? A prince or princess. That means the right thing or aspirant in training. You are aspiring to what? To that position, working towards it. If they discover the higher planes of existence, they also rule in the higher planes as well. The planes of intellect and astral existence. In the upcoming class, I will study more about my man Hudu, who is what? The king of the world physically. Every individual wants to be the king of their world here in the flesh. And how to become king or queen of the world? Stick with me. I help you do that. That's what I do for you. Hope you enjoy the lesson. I'll be back.